Trucks and Tractor Power. And today we come to you from Florida Sports Park in Naples, Florida for the Gator NTPA Nationals. This event, the Gator NTPA Nationals, actually replaces the old Indy Super Pull. Now, for a puller to get qualified, he must be a top 10 finisher in his class or a reigning regional or national champion. Now, of course, the roots of pulling are deeply seated in the rural Midwest of the country, so we're not sure how this event might play on the edge of the Everglades. It's a long tow to the south of Florida here in Naples, but I tell you what, these big dogs don't want to go away empty-handed. Here with more in today's competition is Army Armstrong.
Paul Holman in the four-wheel drive pulling category has literally struck fear in the competitors as 4 of the last 6 years he's been the man to beat, winning the NTPA National Championship. But he's won that championship relying on brute Steve Schmidt horsepower. He doesn't need the horsepower today. The big talk around the block today is not a horsepower track. It's going to be a finesse track or a balance track. I'll show you what we mean. The truck weighs 6,200 pounds, about 2,000 pounds of horsepower. How do you get the balance to work for you? What you do not want to do is to get these four-wheel tires spinning so fast that they pick up sand and throw it in front of the buckboard of the sled. The truck weighs 6,200 pounds. The sled weighs 4,200 pounds. That's going to be tough enough to pull as it is. But if you start throwing sand in front of the buckboard of the sled, you have to pull that weight too. The one thing that all the drivers know, you got to figure out a four-corner offense with a four-wheel drive truck today. If you don't, you're going to be in trouble for sure.
In Naples, Florida, the drivers call this the sand pit. The track backs, the track width 40 feet, 300 feet in length, and the sled weighs 42,000 pounds, but this is a very sandy surface. And the first up is Larry Smith, and here's Army with track conditions.
Gary, the drivers walking behind me are all looking down at the track. What are they looking at? They're looking at nothing more than a sandy surface. Normally, this area that we're in right now is under about 3.5, 4 feet of mud. This is the same area where they have the swamp buggy races, but they drained the lake and all the water out of here. But what was left was nothing more than old Florida sand. And again, I want you to look at my hand here because there's no moisture in the sand to make it pack. And these guys are worried to death. Nobody thinks they're going to be able to put the horsepower down on the track today. So that tells me one thing. It's going to be a thinking man's track. You're going to see guys that I believe before the day's over actually killing horsepower trying to get the sled on the other end. Could be the toughest 300 feet they got to pull on all year long. We're going to find out who can figure this thing out. Back to you, Gary.
I'll put the suntan lotion on as we introduce you to the sled cams. Some great shots from Florida Sports Park. And our first puller, the Lean Meat Machine out of Holland, Michigan. This is Larry Smith.
Gary, we get a look at a unique camera angle. It's mounted right over the top of the weight transfer box where the weight actually moves forward on the sled. NTPA official throws a green flag out. Now, not like other forms of racing where you attack the track. Everybody's watching this turkey farmer to see if he can figure this thing out. We're going down the track at one rate. The weight goes forward at another rate. The truck's pulling at another rate, 300 feet. Let's see if he can figure it out, Gary.
1991 Chevy S10 with a big 620 cubic inch Chevy power plant. 300 feet. Racing out.
Wow, look how it settles. Look at the tires, how they all four. We talked about the four-corner offense. Those guys literally dug in, Gary.
284 and 10 for Larry Smith out of Holland, Michigan. 284.10. And once again, grave concern over this track and how this track will tear up.
Exactly. In the opening, I talked about finesse. It's hard to believe in a sport of brute horsepower. You actually do have to be a little finesse-minded. What you got to do here is not let the truck bounce. If it bounces, it digs in. If it digs in, it kills forward motion. And that's what all these guys are just scared to death of. They're going to dig in the end like he did. Larry, the word we get to 284 and 10. What's it like out there? Everybody's watching you to see what's going to happen.
It's a sand track. It's really loose. There's hardly any traction out there, but I'm pretty happy. I thought it was a good run the last run. But we'll just have to wait and see if everybody else beats it or not.
More fun from the Naples Sandbox coming up on Trucks and Tractor Power. Welcome back to Trucks and Tractor Power at the Gator NTPA Nationals from the Florida Sports Park in Naples, Florida. It's all part of the Copenhagen Skull pulling circuit. Coming up next, the 94 Chevy Silverado, the heartbeat of America. Out of the state of Iowa, this is Gene Helmig.
Gene capitalized on the Chevrolet logo name, the heartbeat of America. The big question is, where do you put the horsepower? We talked earlier about the dirt getting thrown up in front of the buckboards. If you notice, he almost has mud flaps here to direct the dirt away from the sled. It's hard to believe that you can pick up about 1,000 pounds of sand or dirt and throw it in front of the sled. Now, this guy out of Iowa knows he's going to have to finesse this thing through. You look at the big red scoops in the front of the engine. That's an Interleaf fuel injection system, and I'll guarantee you those guys have been reading all types of little toots and whistles trying to figure out how not to make a whole lot of horsepower. As a matter of fact, I said earlier, and I still believe they're going to be trying to kill horsepower before the day's over, Gary. Boy, he's really up on the RPM. He's got some good ground speed.
He's got a motor,
He's got a motor going away. He's killing that horsepower I was telling you about, but it's an awfully expensive way to do it. He is hurting that motor big time.
That was an expensive run. Look at that, though. The full pull. He takes it out of there. But now, keep in mind, if we have anybody... Oh, look at this.
That's not what you want to see.
If we have anybody else, Army, that takes it out of here,
I don't think
it's hitting a pull-off, Gene's finished.
He can't come back at about the 150-foot mark. It started self-destructing on it. But we told you, as the horsepower went away, it actually helped him because it let him go on down the track, and he kept the horsepower up. He'd have been in trouble.
Well, once again, a full pull, but a very expensive full pull. Here's Army with Gene.
Well, you fellas knew you were going to have to put it on kill. About the 100-foot mark, we saw smoke coming out, but at that point in time, you don't have any choice. You still got to go for it, don't you?
That's right, Army. I could feel it going away, but we had the truck hooked up pretty good. We made a lot of changes for the sand track. Changed the tires, went a lot higher on the gear, and it worked pretty good, but we did lose the motor, so we're going to have to kind of scramble now.
Certainly an expensive full pull as he lost the power plant. Coming up next, well, a name that is synonymous with championship pulling. This is Paul Holman in the four-play Chevrolet, a 1960 Chevy with a 640 cubic inch Chevy big block.
Paul and his brother have really been players in sport. We told you about the national championship, but right now we opened the show using their vehicle, telling you about a four-corner offense. We use that terminology. The reason we're using it, the track is so soft. You got four corners on a truck. Nothing can go wrong in any of the corners, or you're in bad shape. Look, man, see right there is a good camera shot showing you how he's digging in. Here, I think he's got problems. He can't move it forward.
Now, Army, remember in NTPA pulling, if a driver does not go beyond 75 feet, he can come back and try it again. So we'll see Paul again in the program. But speaking of problems, Army, you had a chance to check in and give us more information on Gene Helmig's engine situation.
Gary, we want to show you something real quick. You hear the terminology of kicking a rod out. Well, that's exactly what happened. The crew member just took the safety shield out. I want you to look right here. Here's the connecting rod and the piston right there. On this Rodeck engine, an all-aluminum engine, well, you're looking at about a $50,000 piece of scrap right now, I hate to say. They put them on kill. That's what it's all about. They don't come here to go for second. Back to you, Gary.
There's the look at a meltdown of a mountain motor.
Magnificent magnitude. That's an expensive run, is what you're saying. Well, another Chevrolet's going to be coming out now, Gary. Who's it going to be?
Dave Klosser in Zip Express. That's a 1988 Chevy S10 with a 598 cubic inch Chevrolet power plant.
You know, Dave has got to be sweating BBs. He's watching everybody in front of him. If I were going to be a player in this game, I would have been watching the four-play truck of the Holman brothers. He didn't get the run he wanted. He's going to be coming back later in the competition, but how do you adjust? What do you do? Where do you go? Where's the center baseline here? We go on board with the camera, watching the weight box go forward past the NTPA official on a 40-foot wide track that widens the track 10 feet wider than normal in order to give these drivers a chance to find a place to put the horsepower. The left side of the track looks like it's working. He's muscling it down on the other end, Gary.
Close, but no cigar for the veteran from Alexandria, Indiana. He falls short. Look at the front wheels mired in that sand. 294.10. That would be second best, but that would be also the first loser, right?
No, the guy in front of him was next to last. We've been through this before.
Oh, no.
The Zip Express looks good. The CPEC tires fit. The Indole injector works. But we go back over to the Holman brothers, and sure enough, the left front axle was broken. So they've got about 10 minutes to get this axle back together.
Well, Dave Klosser out of the Hoosier state of Indiana. Let's go down trackside and visit with him. Army?
Well, you did what you had to do. this track does not look like it's going to get a bit better today. I would much rather be where you were than the guy behind you.
Yes, I agree with that, Army. We moved over into some fresh dirt, and I think that may have been what gave us a little edge on some of them.
Here at Florida Sports Park, we've seen the Sippy Hole do some damage in the swamp buggies, but today, these guys are digging their own graves in the sand from Naples, Florida. We're coming right back. Stay with us. The warmth and sunshine of Naples, Florida, the Gator NTPA Nationals at Florida Sports Park. Jeff Schaefer up next in Win, Lose, or Draw. The 1992 Chevy S10 with a 641 cubic inch Chevy block. He's a 15-year veteran, a machinist by profession from Mount Vernon, Ohio.
You know, Gary, we keep talking about these what we call mountain motors. Just for the layman out there, a mountain motor usually is a loose terminology meaning anything over 500 cubic inches, which basically, for the guy that's not familiar with the sport, will tell you the pistons are about the size of gallon buckets. I mean, they got these things.
Really, they cost just a tad more than gallon buckets, though. Well, once again, he will need a full pull to advance to a pull off. However, you know, the only other guy to make the full pull, Gene Helmig, through that rod, he is out of competition.
Sure, I was just noticing, looking at the autometer tachometer and the gauges, these guys are almost like flying an airplane on instruments. They watch that tachometer as we go again back to the onboard camera. But you've got to watch the tachometer. You got to feel the truck. You got to feel the seat of your pants, not to let those tires break loose. Look at this. He eases into the horsepower. See, now he's starting to dial a little bit more horsepower, but he's starting to develop a little bit of bounce. Now he drives through the bounce, comes up on the RPM, trying to get the ground speed, and the weight coming after him, Gary.
Good pull so far. He needs a full pull to advance to a pull off. Oh, is he going to make it? It looks like he's going to fall short. Yes. So, Jeff Schaefer short of a full pull from the sled cam.
Weight box has done its job. It comes back to its resting place.
282.01, which would put him about, third, fourth right now. And look at that. Paul Holman continues to work on that axle. So
this is a major problem here.
Well, let's go back to the other end of the racetrack, and here's Jeff Schaefer.
Jeff, what do you look for when you go to a line? I mean, the word on the block is there's nothing out there to get a hold of. What do you look for?
Nah, the thing here was just patience. You had to be patient, not throttle it too much, or you was going to lose it at the start. You just had to wait on it to hook and then go, and that's the trick.
So Jeff finds himself fourth in the standings as the competition continues. Here is Frank Young. Love the name of this truck. Forever Young, out of the state of Florida. The 91 Ford with the Janky power plant.
Janky out of Texas makes a whole lot of horsepower. We told you the story, you don't need horsepower. Look at his right hand. This could be the story. This guy's from Florida. He knows how to pull in a sand track. He does not use a foot throttle. He operates the throttle from his hand. See? Almost like a jet fighter pilot. You've got more control. You can be a little bit smoother maybe on these sandy tracks and see if it works.
All right, he has the experience on this type of pulling track. He needs a full pull. Here's Frank Young out of the Sunshine State. Oh, he's going to come up short, it looks like, Army.
Yeah, but he's not digging down. He's not kicking a lot of dirt out.
He has a good run, just not long enough. So he does fall short of the full pull, 281.05. That would put him fifth right now overall. He'd like to have that run back.
Well, I'll tell you what, this day and time, fifth is not bad.
Well, Gene Helmig continues to lead with a full pull and a broken power plant, but there's Dave Kloster in second, Larry Smith, Jeff Schaefer, and Frank Young rounding out the top five. Here is the Excite battery entry, and this is Jerry Weaver, the Exciter.
I tell you what, Jerry's been around all types of motorsports for years. You talk about a versatile guy. He came over from Pro Stock Drag Racing. He is based out of Ohio, one of the hotbed of sprint car country. He's got the same sponsor Jeff Bodine has, so he's doing some good. But also he brings to the sport a phenomenal-looking rig to promote the Excite battery name in the form of not only the pulling truck, but Gary, you see the name Monster Truck. That's right. We might see this guy a little bit later in the year on the Pin to Point series here on the Nashville Network.
Well, it's nice to see those national sponsors in the pulling competition as well as the Monster Truck competition. A very stark cockpit.
Yeah, it's bare bones. You got a tachometer, a throttle, and a brake. That's all you need.
And a steering wheel. But sometimes you don't use that much. On this track, though, all four wheels are on the surface.
I'm watching. You see, he's trying to finesse it in. He's smooth. He's working, coming over to the right. He started in the middle, now he goes to the right, picks up on the throttle. Look at the injector scoops are not open. He's not calling on a whole lot of horsepower right now.
Needs the full in the Exide Batteries Chevrolet, and he is going to come up short. Well short. What would you give for 29 feet? He's 271. He fell short by 29 feet at the full. Let's go down trackside now and check in with Army on the situation with Paul Holman.
Gary, what's going on down in the pit area is that Holman has broken an axle. Now, the other crew members, you can see it right here. They've got another axle in. He's trying to put it back together. But NTPA does have a time rule, and I don't know how much time's left for him, but believe me, he's starting to really worry. All the other crews are trying to help any way they can, but the clock may wind up taking a win and taking one of the best pullers in the country out. Let's wait and see how this thing goes down.
So we'll see if he's ready as we return to Florida Sports Park in Naples, Florida.
You got one shot, Paul. Make your count. Yeah, anybody take the jack out?
Well, the jack was indeed out. That was just moments ago, right after they secured the final lug nut. And Paul Holman was able to bring that Chevy 4Play out for the final pass of the afternoon.
I tell you what, this guy's got the pressure on him, though. He's sitting out there in the catbird seat with a broken wing, if you'll allow me. And this guy's going bear hunt with a switch.
That was a shot just moments ago of Gene Helmick. He has made the full pull, but he is out of competition. He threw the rod in that monster power plant of his. All he can do right now is watch and hope that Paul Holman does not pull it out of there.
Well, I tell you what, these guys give phenomenal exposure. I wonder what kind of oil he uses. Wow, awesome exposure. Let's see. He's a pro. He's been here before. He knows what it's going to take. He's got one shot.
4Play Chevrolet, a 1960 Chevy, but he needs to pull it out of there. He broke that front axle, replaced the axle.
Staying together for him. He's working to the left, Gary. Everybody else went to the right. He's going to the left, going after the Chevrolet.
He's coming close. No, I don't know. He didn't make it. He did not make it. That means that Gene Helmick is your winner. Look at that. 293.80, just shy of 294 feet, just over 6 feet shy, and there is your victor. Let's go down to Army, and he has Paul Holman.
Well, Paul, you talk about drama. 293 is the word we get. Buddy, you pulled that one out with the help of a lot of friends. Tell us what happened on the starting line.
Howie, what happened is the front axles are welded inside of the yoke. It's a special made axle, and the weld broke holding the shaft to the yoke, and it just spun out, and the weld broke and spun in half.
You guys go like crazy to beat each other, but I also notice your competitors are up there helping you, too. That just shows the caliber of people in this sport, doesn't it?
It sure does. Everybody pitches in and helps everybody and anybody, and that's really what makes this sport great. Thanks. I owe this guy right here.
Well, Gary, you got good days and bad days. A lot of smoke kicked right out the side, but you were the guy that held on for the win on this thing. That's, how do you like it? Happy or sad?
Well, like you said, Herman, we had a good day and a bad day. We won the full, but we lost the motor on it, so we got another motor at home, and we're going to call and get them on the way down there with it. So we got another event up at Pensacola next weekend, so I don't think we can make her by tomorrow.
Did you think that anybody would be able to make a full pull once you pulled on the track?
There was a chance of it, but our truck, if you drive it right, I mean, we do pretty well on a track like this. And this is not a real power track, but I drive the truck about 125 foot with the brakes on, 75, 80 foot with the clutch, both, riding them both on a soft track like this. And this is not a good track. Numbers had a lot to do with it today. We had an early number. When Larry moved over, we'd already moved the sled over for our hook, and then he rehooked, so we had to move again. But we came out all right, other than the motor.
There's your winner of the Gator NTPA Nationals for Army Armstrong. I'm Gary Lee. We'll see you next week on Trucks and Tractor Power. Now here's news and exciting video release from Diamond B Sports.